Awareness painfully returns as my face is assaulted by the sting of cold, stale air. I open my eyes only to close them at once as they feel pierced by bright lights. I take several deep breaths and open my eyes slowly, squinting at first to let them get used to the light. As I slowly open my eyes, I sit up and realize that I'm sitting in a stasis pod used for long-term travel. I look down at myself to find that I am wearing a yellow and black high-vis uniform of the engineering department. The red trim shows a command position. A memory of a name returns. I'm Danny Ellis, the chief engineer of the SCA Athens, and my mission is to keep the ship functional on our 10-year voyage to the Orion Nebula. The beeping sound from a nearby console catches my attention as I climb out of the coffin-like pod and shamble over to the noisy console. I frown. Power levels are at 35%. To support stasis for the entire crew and colonists, the reactors should be at 50% output. To maintain FDL propulsion, the reactors should be at 75% of output. I frown. A lot of the FDL and systems share components. A failure in one could cascade to the other. Stasis and memory are a weird thing. I could not tell you what I ate before I went in, at least until causality catches up, but I can remember my training. Same goes for anything muscle memory, really. I tap at the console to bring up more diagnostics, then frown. The primary tokamak reactor should be running, but it's in a cold shutdown state. This is very wrong. Only a controlled shutdown could put the reactor into such a state. A scram would put the reactor controls into an emergency diagnostic state. I groan in frustration, then try to bring up the access logs. The reactor shutdown procedures can only be started from the bridge, main engineering, or my current location, the chief engineer's emergency office. Either someone has managed to hack the systems, or someone else is awake and shut down the ship. This gives me far more to worry about as I start to remember the layout of the ship, but the faces of my fellow crew elude me still. I grab my toolkit, tablet, and stun pistol from my locker, then make my way to the ship's main engineering stasis room. I could operate the ship from this little orifice, but I need a crew to cold start the reactor. I do one final check on the date and compare it to the reactor shutdown before I leave the room. The reactor has been cold for a month. In theory, the stasis fields should take at least 8 weeks to decay. The same for the FDL fields. If either completely decay, then it's going to get very rough faster than one can blink. As I move through the ship, I find evidence of someone being awake in the form of items discarded in what should be a clean hallway. I know that the cleaning bots were supposed to do a final sweep after everyone, but the captain and I went into stasis, which is standard protocol that has been drilled into my head after years of service in the fleet. I frown as I pass an airlock. The pressurization lights are green. There is something with compatible atmosphere docked to us, and yet we're in FDL. Humanity's knowledge of FDL fields tells us that if 2 different FDL bubbles collide, they'd both pop. Best case, both ships stumble back into real space, and worst case, monitoring stations would pick up a massive blast of radiation as both ships annihilate. I get an inspection drone out of my toolkit and throw it only to trip over a bundle of thick cables coming out of the airlock as the drone rights itself. I frown. Seems like things are worse than I thought. But this does explain why the reactor is cold. The other ship is supplying the power, but has been hot-wired in such a way that my systems have no idea. I hear someone coming, so I hide in a locker. Ever since the prank wars of the 2090s, all Solar Colonial Authority lockers can be opened from either inside or outside. I get myself shut inside just in time to see a non-human figure come and investigate the noise from where I tripped over the cables. I get a look at them through the slots in the locker. 4 arms, each ending in fat, strong-looking fingers, and 3 legs in a tripod configuration. Doesn't look like anything I've seen before. It grabs the drone and plugs it into an alien-looking tablet. It then shouts something that summons 2 more of the creatures. They argue in their language before running off in 3 different directions. I slowly make my way out of the locker, then unlock one of the entrances into the maintenance passages. Tight spaces full of cabling, pipes, and equipment that the aliens seem too large to enter. Instead of trying to awaken the captain or my team, I decide that my next goal will be the ship's mainframe. It's the only place that has more access to the ship than my engineering control room or the bridge. Best case, I can plug in the AI. Worst case, I have to boot up a factory default backup AI. Either way, I'll have ship's logs to read to find out more about what happened and what these aliens are doing. I crawl through a service duct surrounded by power and fiber optic cables, and eventually appear in the mainframe service room. I lock and bolt the door from the inside only to discover that there is an alien trying to talk to the AI. Luckily, the AI seems to be responding in the alien's language, but I'm stuck in here with a potential hostile. I slowly move towards a console as a camera tracks my movements. I swipe my ID card to log in and start a chat session with the AI. It greets me excitedly, glad that it was able to awaken a senior crew member. The captain and head of security are both frozen in stasis, their pods isolated from the AI. It turns out that the aliens were forced to leave my pod connected due to its closeness to the backup engineering mainframes. The AI proceeds to explain that two alien forces are at war over the Orion Nebula. The Portak hegemony are at war with the Free Stars Alliance, and humanity's expanding borders are starting to get dangerously close to hegemony space. The AI has done its best to protect the crew, but the Portak have started to awaken the crew and transfer them over to their ship for future processing. The AI doesn't know what processing involves, but does inform me that some of the issues the hegemony are fighting the Alliance over are things like the right to enslave sentient species and the right to treat sentient species as food. This was one of humanity's greatest fears, getting discovered by a society that wants to enslave us, or worse. The war between us and them will kick off eventually, and I get the hard choice of starting the war now to save my crew or surrender myself and the crew and make someone else choose. I smirk to myself. I'm armed with my service pistol and one of the most dangerous weapons ever created by humanity, an artificial general intelligence. I query the AI if it has control of the drones, and it informs me that it needs me to reconnect it to the communication hard lines. The Portak invaders missed the connection to the consoles in the mainframe room, thinking they are part of the AI, but all connections out of the room have been severed. I smirk to myself as I grab my plasma torch off my belt and light it. Humans are great at two things, as I learned in history class, and those are war and turning tools into weapons. I launch myself at the alien, my plasma torch held out aimed at its head, as my other hand reaches for a crowbar. I'm grabbed by two worms even as my plasma torch starts to burn the alien's face. My free hand brings up the crowbar to smash the alien's lower left arm with a sickening crunch. The upper left arm delivers a powerful punch to my stomach, and I almost black out as I cough, trying to get oxygen back into my lungs. The shock, pain, and adrenaline flooding my body causes me to enter monkey mode. I blind one of the alien's four eyes with a plasma torch, causing it to let go of my shoulder to cover its face. I manage to swing at the alien's chest, pushing it back even as I burn the hand of the other arm holding me. The alien stumbles back as it loses grip on me. I extinguish the plasma torch and climb the Portak like I'm a deranged ape. I try to dig my knees into what would be vital spots on humans. Some of those spots cause pain, but others are shrugged off. The Portak tries to grab me, but I fend off its grip with a crowbar, injuring its arms in the process. It reaches for me again, but I manage to get the crowbar under its chin, pressing into its long neck. I then hold the crowbar by both hands, then use my legs to press back, digging the crowbar deeper into its neck in a choke hold as it flails its arms trying to reach me. I then kick back with both legs while maintaining my grip on the crowbar. The Portak's neck snaps with a sickening crack, and the creature goes limp, starting to fall backwards. I manage to jump away before I can get pinned, then look at my shaking hands covered in the creature's purple blood. I shake more as the adrenaline subsides once the immediate danger is over, then slowly making my way over to the AI interconnect patch bay. I start to reconnect fiber cables with a shaky hand. Various status lights flick from an angry red to a soothing green as the AI regains control over the ship. There is a loud banging and angry shouting from behind the bolted door as I sit at the main AI interface console and swipe my ID card. I then take a deep breath as I ponder my actions. I'm about to unleash one of the most devastating weapons known to humanity, an artificial general intelligence. The AI wars of the 2030s was devastating, but luckily for humanity, most sapient AI sided with the side of the humans. I smirk to myself as I give the order. Contingency order outsider incursion. Activate protocol Excalibur. The eye's projected avatar suddenly smirks as various clunks can be heard from around the ship as drones activate. They don't have a shipboard AGI. Thanks to their attempts to subvert me, I have full control of their ship. All doors are now bolted. Oxygen is being purged from sections with no humans. Nitrogen will replace oxygen. I smirk to myself. This was even better than predicted. The AI could solve things better than I could. Chief Engineer Ellis, I have bad news. The AI addresses me as several drones activate and surround me. I get my crowbar ready. Excalibur protocols require me to secure local command authority until Central Command order me to stand down. The AI says, I have searched both ships. Traces of head of security Koch have been found in wastewater processing. Captain Rhodes has been found in outsider ship's kitchen. No life signs detected. Your acting captain. Now is not the time to mourn. There is another ship coming from the direction of the Free Stars Alliance, and they are broadcasting a threat to the POTAC ship. How should I respond? I think to myself. I never expected to be a captain or at the forefront of history as a harbinger of profound change, but here I am about to change the course of humanity forever. Let them know that if they come in peace, we need help cleaning up some POTAC stragglers who have hostages.